I think you'll find most of the cricketers, certainly a lot of the guys that I've had privilege to play with, have a fantastic mentality around injury, but performance and just life in general, that bad things are going to happen along the way, but it doesn't make you a bad cricketer or a bad person, but it's what you sort of do next that kind of defines you, and the guys who work through that and find resilience in that tend to come out on top.
Were you hoping like last 2-3 balls, like just don't want to give a run now?
It was only the last few balls I was like, the last over, I reckon. Until then, I was
Until
like,
then, it's fine.
I mean, the amount of games I've played where a guy just swings and edges it for 4. So I was just like, it won't happen. And then I think the people who were the most nervous were the other boys fielding, because if they'd like made a mistake, and then they would have been like, yeah. I didn't even think, honestly, in my whole cricket career, did I ever think that there was a record for not going for a run in T20 cricket?
My first conversation with you, sitting like this, I wanted to do it last year, but things just didn't work out. We were too busy. We were too busy winning games for us. And finally, we got that championship. Just want to start with a very simple question. Good feeling to be back here?
Yeah, it is. It really is. I love America in general, but this tournament's been such an awesome time, particularly the last few years. And I know it's been said before, but how it's been run from the top down, from Sanjay, obviously bringing Ricky in last year, and then that's when I joined the side. There's been this amazing balance between guys turning up for training, turning up for games. We're in cricket mode, we're focused, we're doing what we can in that mode. And then when you're away from cricket, like you're away from cricket. There's no breakfast chat. Well, not that I've gone to breakfast that much, but there's no breakfast chat of kind of what's happening in the games, unless you want to talk about it. So I think it's probably something to be learned for me as a player, and playing in other franchises, that, you know, it's so important just to have that sort of separation between, hey, I'm at work, and there's meetings, there's training. If you want to have those conversations, obviously you're more than welcome. But there's a separation between work and then the rest of the time we have here. So, yeah, it's been great. Nice to be back. Nice to be sitting on the eve of another opportunity to win the trophy.
And as a cricketer, I believe you don't get enough opportunities to separate you from the cricketer that you are, right? Cricket is just one part of your life.
Yeah. Well, you're exactly right. I mean, it's obviously a big part of our lives, and we're on tour so much. So, of course, when you're on tour, you're in a hotel. The team's in the hotel, the coaches are in the hotel. You have access to everyone all the time, and all your friends are part of the team too, right? So all my mates here are part of the team. So naturally the conversation's going to steer in the way of cricket. But it's as you said, it's very difficult to find chances to not be in the cricket bubble and get away. And I know it's pretty famous, our golf group that plays is Washington Freedom, but, you know, I think people are starting to understand why that's important, and just for guys to decompress and talk about how bad their golf swing is at the time rather than maybe the cricket swing. So, yeah, it's been great from that point of view, and we've traveled to some pretty cool cities this year as well. My first time to San Fran and my first time to Florida. So nice to experience different parts of the States.
I would like to talk a little bit about golf, because people who don't know would understand this better. I see a lot of Formula One drivers too taking up golf, and it's such a nice way to completely disconnect from cricket. That's one reason, and then the kind of fun you have at the course, right? The banters which go on. How much does it help you get your mind away from cricket?
It's very mentally taxing sport, because you can never perfect it. No matter how hard you work on it, how good you feel yesterday playing, you might have had the round of your life, and then today you turn up and do the exact same thing and it doesn't work. So there's something, I don't know, maybe we're a bit crazy that we keep trying to perfect this game, but I think there's something for me personally that helps in a way of that mental resilience. The game of golf teaches you so much about life in a way, because sometimes you'll hit a good shot and you'll get a bad break, and there's not much you can do about that. And it actually flows through to cricket. Sometimes you bowl a good ball and you get a bad break and it goes for 4 or 6 or a drop catch or whatever it might be. And it's actually less so about that moment and what more about probably what you do next. So I think golf tends to bring out people's personalities very quickly. It builds camaraderie within the team. You often play in pairs, so you play with someone new. And yeah, it's fun at the end of the day, so you can't take it too seriously. We're clearly not going to give up our day jobs to play golf. But yeah, it's an opportunity to not talk about cricket, to get away from the game, but still be competitive and still have some fun with your teammates.
Lovely. And talking about personalities, I just want to understand you a little better. How are you as a cricketer? Like, do you overanalyze your bowling? Do you look too much into the numbers? How do you approach a particular game?
Good question. I think probably it's changed over the years from when I started. I think I put my shoes into young cricketers coming into franchise teams or national teams or professional teams. Naturally, you're going to come in and want to do all the work you can to make sure you're prepared. And reflecting back, I probably think I looked at the numbers too much, because cricket's a fantastic sport that you can do scouting, but at the end of the day, we play on a grass wicket that's pretty unpredictable. The dimensions of the ground are always different, and the competition we play against is again different. So that's what's so special about the game. Every game of cricket we play is original in itself, so can make analysis quite difficult at times. So yeah, I'd say that when I was starting out, I probably overanalyzed what I was doing. I probably at that stage didn't have what I like to think of the control that I have now. So maybe I was trying to hide behind those analytics. But yeah, now it's I've got a decent amount of cricket behind me. I trust in my abilities. I'm constantly trying to grow my game, as every cricketer you speak to, I'm sure, is doing the same thing. But what brings me back is trying to improve my game and trying to improve my results, and then find yourself in a position like we are tonight with an opportunity to win a trophy tomorrow. That's why we play it. So yeah, it's exciting for sure.
That just reminds me of one of the conversations I had with one of my friend who plays cricket. He said there's constant pressure when you play so many T20 tournaments, and he got injured once, and he said that was probably the best thing which happened to me, because I got a chance to slow down, reflect, and I realized that I've become too competitive. I forgot why I started playing cricket, and that was because I loved the game. And then he found that newfound confidence and love for the game, and he just started enjoying. So, have you had such kind of reflections in your life?
Yeah, I've had that a lot. I've been injured a lot, and it always seems to come. I mean, not always, but often the injuries come when you feel like you're doing well. So, it can be difficult at times to firstly get over that hurdle of the injury and the frustration that it brings, that you're out of the game you love for a period of time. But exactly as you said and your friend said, it does give you a chance to recognize why you play. And when you're sitting on the couch for 2 weeks or 2 months or whatever it might be, you quite quickly work out what your motivations are to get back on the field. And yeah, I suppose I've been round and round that circle quite a few times, and even the start of this tournament was that. But I guess being part of teams like this is what brings you back, having opportunities to win trophies, but also creating memories and having some epic wins along the way is what motivates me to keep coming back. And I think we all, at the end of the day, love playing the game of cricket, win, lose or draw. We just enjoy probably making good friends, playing cricket with those friends, and then hopefully doing something special in the sort of realms of winning a trophy or something like that.
And that leads me again into a very interesting aspect, which I believe a lot of young upcoming players would love to hear your perspective on. I've seen some fast bowlers getting injured, and they work their way back. They get injured again, they work their way back. How do you keep yourself focused and motivated in such circumstances? Because your morale can go down really fast.
Yeah, injuries are quite an interesting one mentally. Even having had a long list of injuries and with different times off the field, I still have the same thoughts in my head that maybe my body's not fit enough to do this. So injuries, naturally, I think it's not just sports people, any kind of industry or anything like that. If you have an injury, you kind of get down on yourself, wishing you'd done more work to prevent that injury. Sometimes it wasn't more work, sometimes it was more rest. So over the years, I've tried to find what that balance is, and I certainly don't have the magic ball that tells you the answer. But I have changed how I train. Also with age, you have to train different. You have to give yourself the opportunity to recover. Takes a little bit longer. You have to have a few more early nights, things like that. But yeah, I think it's just, as we sort of spoke about earlier, the positives of injury is actually shows you if you're motivated to come back and do it again. And similar to when you have a bad game, what's your choices the next day? Are you going to choose to feel bad about yourself and think that you're no good, or are you going to choose to maybe work harder and try to improve so that next time you play, you might be a better player and you might have a better game? And so we all have those kind of choices in our lives, and I think you'll find most of the cricketers, certainly a lot of the guys that I've had privilege to play with, have a fantastic mentality around injury, but performance and just life in general, that bad things are going to happen along the way, but it doesn't make you a bad cricketer or a bad person, but it's what you sort of do next that kind of defines you. And the guys who work through that and find resilience in that tend to come out on top. I think you speak to any of the lads in this team, everyone's had their own disappointments along the line, and I think every athlete along the way would have had a lot of disappointment, probably a lot more than they've had success.
And who do you lean on for conversations in such times, like your family, some of the coaches from your earlier days? Who are the people you talk to?
My wife's the first one. Yeah, she's from a sporting background. She understands it. She's a straight shooter, which is what I love. Gives me the honest answer. Sometimes, naturally, when you're injured, you can get down on yourself and play whatever victim card or whatever you want to call it, feeling sorry for yourself. But, she's a straight shooter and provides that kind of push and encouragement just to get back to work. And then, very quickly you're back, hopefully playing like I am at the moment, and you sort of forget about those tougher moments. So yeah, she's always first port of call. Great to have her on tour. And then, of course, my family, growing up, both my parents very successful sports people in their own right, and my brother certainly far more talented than me. So was lucky to be surrounded by that growing up in New Zealand. Again, very fortunate to grow up in a country where sport's just part of everyday life. And then coaches have been blessed along the way. I think the best coaches I've had in my life are just ones who care more than anything, and they're sort of selfless in their own pursuits. And what I mean by that is they don't just see results or outcomes reflecting on them. They're actually sort of thinking about the athlete and how they're preparing. And Rick's probably one of the top at that, to be fair. Regardless of a good or a bad game, he's one of the first guys to put his arm around you. And, it counts probably a little bit more when it comes from Ricky Ponting being the GOAT that he is. But at the same time, I don't think it's put on by him. I think it's just who he is as a person. And you can see why he's had such success through all sorts of franchise tournaments with his team, because he has that duty of care with his players. So yeah, feel very fortunate to have had a lot of people that helped me along the way. And, I get to the stage in my career where I'm trying to provide that same support to some of the young bowlers coming through who are going down the same road that I've gone through, which is injuries and success and disappointment. So yeah, it's all part of the fun.
Lockie, is something interesting happening in your life? Your love for apps and fast bowling have come together to form Yorker. Just want to know more about it from you.
I'm actually really excited about this because it's something that I've used my whole career to help mitigate against injury. And it kind of stems from a good mate of mine, Kyle, having some troubles with injuries and getting stress fractures, which is bone-related injuries from overloading. And what I mean by that is just coming back too quickly and bowling too much, that the body didn't get adjusted to it and then it broke. Very common in the fast bowling realm is stress fractures, but also the injuries outside of that often come before or after. And so the main reason in my eye that these things happen is because the body hasn't been trained to do what you're asking it to do. And to put it as clearly as possible, the forces we put our bodies through with cricket are quite high, and the positions we get in are a bit awkward. But I actually am a true believer that if you build up over a long period of time in terms of how many balls you bowl per week, and you're consistent in building up, much like if you were training for a marathon and you built up the Ks that you were running each week, eventually your body's going to get adjusted to that load that you're creating, and then it will be used to it. So what's really worked for me is that when I was young, I would bowl for a few different teams. I'd bowl a club team, I'd bowl for a rep team, and I'd bowl at the Auckland Aces training. So I was bowling 4 or 5 times a week, and that's a high load for a bowler. And I wasn't really across how much I was bowling, and so injuries would happen. I would get a hamstring, I would get a whatever calf side, whatever it might be, things you've heard from before. Then I would rehab that muscle, come back in 3 or 4 weeks, and then just go back to bowling what I had, get injured again. And so what's happening there is that you're not allowing the body to train for the load that fast bowling has created. And so, yeah, I think looking at some of the other apps on the market that have been used for running, I thought it should be very easy for a fast bowler to know how many balls they're bowling per week. And so at the initial standpoint, I've created an app that just makes that really visible so that you enter your bowling loads each week, which is something that every professional bowler does. And if they don't, I really encourage them to. But talk to any of the top fast bowlers in the world, and especially the ones who have stayed on the park for a long period of time, you'll find that their bowling loads are very consistent, whether they're playing T20 and then over time they build up to tests and then come back maybe down to one days. But that consistent line would be quite smooth rather than going up and down like that. So yeah, at very first point of view, I want to make that visible, because I think just seeing how many overs you bowl per week and the line graph that's associated, you'll know when you've bowled too much the week before, and you'll know when you've bowled too little. And then from that, we're trying to build a community around for fast bowlers. So if a 16-year-old Lockie, wanted to be a black cap like he did, and just wanted to go to one place to understand what he needed to do to be a fast bowler, I'm hoping Yorker will be that place. So I have plans to grow the app out in the future, but I think more than anything, if we can get bowlers just to record how many overs they're bowling per week and just have an understanding of that, I think they'll get a lot of value and mitigate against a lot of injuries, hopefully. And then, yeah, I think, the fast bowling community is pretty special. I've spoken before about how I've played against teams and, at the top of the mark where our marks are made when we're painting them in the morning, and often the same question you ask is, how's the body? Even if you don't know the other bowler. And I think there's a bit of a cool brotherhood there that even though we're playing against each other, fast bowlers tend to have a duty of care for other bowlers, because we know how difficult it is to do this job physically. And, we don't like to see guys get injured. So there's many a story I have along those lines. And in a way, it'd be nice to kind of encapsulate that and then bring in what is to be the future of fast bowling, and allow them to have access to the learnings of, the top bowlers in the world. So, yeah, early on in the journey, but, I've got some exciting plans for it.
It's quite fascinating, and I do have few things to talk about. Maybe I'll do it after this conversation. Coming back to Washington Freedom, you have few Kiwis in the team. How good is it playing with them?
Kiwis, terrible blokes, aren't they, really? Yeah, I don't know why they keep signing us. Dumbfounded how we find each other in the same team, but it's good to see some of the boys showcasing their skill. We're a smaller country, but an immense amount of talent. And from my point of view, it's just so good to see them performing all over the world and getting that opportunity. So good to have Kiwis in the team. Good to have that brotherhood together. I like to think we add plenty off the field as much as we do on the field. But yeah, awesome to play with some of my good mates.
Like maybe 5 years back, if someone would have told you that all of you together will be playing for a franchise in America.
It's amazing, huh? Yeah. It's amazing, yeah. I think just sitting here and reflecting and thinking there is cricket in America is pretty cool in itself, but to get quite a big contingent of Kiwis in the same team is great. But at the same time, for me, it's almost just as crazy that I'm very good mates with some Australians. So, we've had our battles on the field, but I've played a lot with the Aussie boys and, just great mates to play alongside, and always nice to come back or find yourself in another franchise team with some of the boys you've played with. It's just the greatest part about franchise cricket for us. So, feel very privileged.
Talking about one of your Kiwi mates, Mark Chapman.
Yeah.
He told us a little story that you guys played together when he was growing up. You were his senior, and he hit you for a boundary. The ball went to the rope, and it bounced obviously and hit your car, and you came back with a nasty bouncer.
That
You
doesn't
remember
sound
that?
like me. Yeah, that definitely sounds like me. Yeah. Yeah, Chappie was a confident young lad when he came in. But we've had some good tussles, mostly being on the same team. So, it's great to see him do well over here. He's had a lot of experience in franchise tournaments. He's not probably got as much opportunity, which is the nature of franchise tournament. But the 2 games he has played, he's played match-winning performances. So I'm sure his career will continue to rise as it has done the last few years. But yeah, another great team man who offers so much more off the field than he does on the field. And, I think all the boys have really enjoyed him this year.
Love knowing him.
Yeah.
What a guy.
Yeah, what a guy, yeah.
Lastly, one thing I really love about seeing your social media, even though you're not too active, but whenever you post a lot of travel pictures, and I absolutely love them. Just talk us through those adventures and your kind of fondness towards going on a hike, traveling to new places.
Yeah, I mean, I'll admit that most of it's driven by my wife. She gets me out of the hotel room. I think playing tournaments where we have quick turnarounds, it's natural for athletes to take that extra day and get the rest in. But at the same time, you get a lot of energy from exploring new places in the world. So it's good to get out, take the camera out. I'm a very amateur photographer, but do like trying to capture moments that maybe the eye doesn't quite see. So again, very fortunate to be traveling around the States. We started in San Fran, which has plenty of iconic spots for photography. I do photograph myself on the golf course quite a lot. My home course, Tiari, shout out, one of the most beautiful golf courses in the world. But yeah, I think probably that stems from being a New Zealander. We're so far away, I don't even know if we're on American maps at some point in time, I think. But, we kind of have a lot of motivation to travel. Traveling 7 hours isn't far for us. So traveling the world's, pretty common for Kiwis. And one of the coolest parts of this job is that we do travel around the world. At times I spend kind of 9 months away from home, traveling the world, but you get to experience so many different cultures. Obviously spent a lot of time in India, which is fantastic, and now in the States. And then hopefully soon we'll be in the UK playing there as well. So yeah, I think it's important to get out and smell the roses of what it is a great job that we get to travel. Travel's paid for, which is great because we play with the team. We just have to play a little bit of cricket in between. But yeah, I think yeah, it's awesome to get out and explore places that you would never get an opportunity to otherwise.
That's all for today. Thank you so much, man.
Easy, anytime. Appreciate
Loved
it.
it, man. Thank you.
Okay.